And here we go. We're getting into our next game and into our next series, and spawning in the top right-hand corner of a post-youth, we have the South Korean Terran player, the Blue Terran representing Shopify Rebellion. It is ByuN. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have the American Protoss player, the Red Protoss. He just took down Shin 2-1. He had a very, very intense ZVP or PVZ. And now can he bring it home against his next opponent? It is Astrea. Okay, so we do have a Protoss confirmed for the finals. It's going to be either Max, Fax, or Geralt. And is it going to be a PvP finals or a PvT finals? That is what we are here to find out. And if you're in the chat, predictions are open. Place your bets on who you think will claim the series. Best of luck. Best of luck in the chat. Good luck. Where are the predictions? I don't know what to do with myself. I need to feed my addiction. I got you, Pappy. I got you. The camera's going, Pappy. The camera's going. But it's all good. Astrea, back at home, going for a gate expand. Standard opener. Standard opener. I mean, I say standard. It was a little bit greedier here. Usually you do delay the expansion for the faster cyber core. So Astrea cutting some corners. Meanwhile, back at home, ByuN going for the Rax expand as well. Now, loading into post-youth is exciting. I believe this is the first time we're loading in for the entire day. Usually post-youth is vetoed. Usually it is avoided. Not here, though. Not in game one. So I'm curious. Curious to see how ByuN and Astrea will approach this. ByuN, who has been known recently for really embracing 3cc 3 racks quite often. And we'll see if he does it at some point. I'm sure he will at some point in this series. But what about game one? What about game number one? Here we go. But yeah, when it comes to our point redemptions, we don't really have any like alerts set up, especially because we only cast, or we mainly predominantly cast on this channel. We don't want to take away from the cast with like, you know, like flashing lights or like sound alerts or anything like that. Like we have our trumpet, we have our fanfare, of course, but that's as far as we go. And I guess like raid alerts. But we don't want to take away. And we just spoke about 3cc 3 racks from ByuN, how he loves it. There it is, 3cc 3 racks. There you go. So we knew that we would see this at least once in this series, but we are going to see it at least as well in game one. So a very greedy build here by ByuN. Very greedy, very bio-heavy. What does this lead into? This leads into a stim timing, leads into a third Rax alongside stim, alongside mass marine. But this is going to be a bit of a later sim timing because before the third Rax, I mean, there's already a third base almost done. So a very greedy, very economic variation. We'll see if Astrea can punish this. Reaper does dip in, and I believe the Reaper did scout the Twilight Council. So ByuN is aware to prioritize Marauder production. Astrea back at home, getting to 2-gate blink. So far, just 2 gateways, and that tells us that Astrea most likely is going to be expanding and taking a third. Now, against Horn Mono, Astrea was going for 3-gate blink quite often, but against ByuN, I'm less certain that he's going to embrace that. We'll see. Horn Mono is known for his aggression, more so than more so than ByuN. You can see Astrea trying to get a bit extra scouting information, but he doesn't see much. For all Astrea knows, this could just be a 3 racks. There could be no third CC alongside it. Astrea setting up for the expansion. Yeah. So it's going to be 2-gate blink into a third. So economic build here by Astrea, which means ByuN is not going to be punished. ByuN will get away with this. And Stim is almost halfway done. Now, specifically what this build really does for the Terran, it isn't about necessarily their bio move outs, because their bio move out is a little bit later. It's about the third base. Very fast third base is going to get up and running, and ByuN can take a supply lead and snowball out of control in the mid game. As long as he isn't too cavalier with his army, as long as he doesn't throw away too much, he can gain a lot of momentum. Back at home, Astrea getting to his own Robo, to his own Bay, and to his own Colossus production. Charge on the way as well. settling in. Oh! ByuN, he wants the observer, doesn't quite get it. Will get away. Float away. Straight into the main army. Oh! And ByuN will establish his third. Third base has been placed. Likewise, Astrea getting ready for drop play, throwing down spotted pylons. But ByuN, for the most part, is going to be committed to the main push. It does move out right down mid. Combat shields just now finishing. ByuN has to be very careful with how and when he stims. He hasn't stimmed yet. Doesn't want to waste it. And again, ByuN just gaining map control. Like, there's no reason to move that too early on. He still has to get his third base up and running and wait for it to kick in. Getting up to 5 Raxes. Getting into triple Marauder production. And Astrea is going to be able to get into his own Colossi, I believe, working on his second Colossus, soon to be a third. But the main point of contention, I believe, is going to be the gold base. Can Astrea hold on to that gold, as ByuN will soon be the aggressor? No. And ByuN, he goes to the stim! He wants a Colossus! He wants it! Gets a Sentry, gets the Stalkers! And ByuN is overwhelming. Astrea getting caught out in the open. Not like this! Colossus, they will be able to get away. There's a second stim. And ByuN barely does not get the Colossi. Whew. Astrea holds. Astrea does hold. That could have been game. That could have been game then and there. If ByuN had a little bit more, or if he did avoid the force fields and was able to stim on forward a little bit better. If the force fields weren't as good, then the Colossus would have gone down. So that wasn't a bad fight for Astrea. He may have lost all of his Stalkers and Sentries, but he maintains a Colossus. Takes out a good chunk of Marines and Marauders. ByuN still maintains that supply lead, is still building up and getting ready for a second move out. But this time, there's going to be, I believe, 3 Colossus. No, still only 2. Second Robo's on the way. Defending with only 2 Colossus. Bold move. So it goes down. ByuN going for the drop. Astrea is trying to keep up with the rotation. Again, he's got spotter units towards the left-hand side. So far, so good. So far, Astrea is keeping up. And we're even setting up a select counterattack. ByuN getting a 4th CC. Likewise, Astrea getting a 5th expansion. He did hold on to that gold. We spoke about it earlier, whether or not he could hold on to it. And so far, he has. So even though ByuN had the stronger economic start, Astrea now running away with the gold and getting another expansion. Astrea, he's keeping up. He is keeping up. Second Robo has completed. Can soon work towards disruptors. For the time being, just going for immortal production. Just supporting his army. Likewise, ByuN getting his own 4th. Getting it operational. I'm a little bit surprised that Astrea has not begun disruptors yet. Is relying on a heavy Zealot composition instead. There we go, first disruptors on the way. Still on the way though. Astrea does threaten the dive. Dancing with the main army, shaving up some Zealots, headed towards the would-be Planetary. Planetary is done. Oh, Astrea, he blinks in. Might just be punished for it. EMPs do connect. Yeah, the Vikings in your hand. They shut down the Colossi. Colossi go down, and this is not the fight that Astrea was hoping for. Thankfully, does reinforce. Does have enough zealots. And will hold his own. ByuN being forced back. Disruptor is on the way. Now, I'm a little bit concerned that Astrea is going back to Colossus, considering the Vikings survived. Like, ByuN still has 8 Vikings in the sky. And Astrea just made the singular disruptor. There it goes off, zones away. Oof. Once again, EMPs, they do cover the Stalkers. And ByuN can kite well against this. I say that he is running out of Marauders. There's what, only 3 Marauders left in the army. Reinforcements are on the way. Colossus have arrived. 1 Viking goes down. Nice pickoff. Down to 7 Vikings. Liberator production has begun. Scan reveals the Colossus. Astrea taking another expansion, getting a stick. 6 on the way. Astrea rotating, ByuN does spot it. There the zones. The Nova looks like it will not connect. The other will though. It does crash in. Colossus goes down, but the ground army is struggling. Like, these Immortals, because we went so Immortal heavy, they're actually trading very nicely against the Marauders. The Marauder count that usually builds up, it's not really that threatening. It's not as high as it usually is. There we go, more Disruptors on the way. Stargate as well. Astrea is thinking about Skytos. Thinking about it. But now freedom has arrived. Oof, oh my god. Nova's fan out. One of them does connect. At the same time, Zealot on the right hand side. SCVs are falling. ByuN out of position. The Liberators are exposed. He gets all 4. The Liberators go down. ByuN getting pulled apart. Here comes another wave of Liberators. And there's still too much freedom. ByuN holds. At the same time, Zealots are still wreaking havoc. Getting 6 SCVs. Astrea poking back in, but doesn't quite commit. Stargate's done. Fleet Beacon's on the way. Astrea, again, he's thinking of Tempest. That is going to be the answer to siege units like the Liberator. Nice hold position micro in the mineral line. Ooh, 12 SCVs go down. Trying to hold its own. He's out of lib. Still on 4 Liberators. One just was rebuilt. Now, the most important thing here as well is that because of how aggressive Astrea's been left alone. Like, the goal base wasn't touched, the 5th base, the 6th base, the 7th expansion as well. Like, ByuN has been stuck at home and hasn't really been able to apply any pressure. Nice Novas. Oh, sorry, nice EMPs. Novas zone away. ByuN now taking the goal base. Now the pressure is going to be on Astrea to make sure this does not get up and running. Astrea does spot this. ByuN finally moving out. Astrea is aware. Takes down the Vikings. Planetary not yet done. Zealous, they won't trade amazingly here due to the choke point. They take down some Marauders. Planetary will complete. And this is a big moment here for ByuN. Taking the gold. And now finally, with the help of these Liberators, ByuN has map control. He does break free, does move out. Zealot run by into the natural, or into the third. ByuN is forced to respond. Passes him back. And we do see Astrea even denying +3 ship weapons. Tempests have arrived. Up. Vikings, they take one of the Tempests down. Meanwhile, Zealots, they did shut down the Ghost Academy. More Vikings falling. Going blow for blow, but ByuN is maxed out and ByuN is going for a split push. And Astrea just doesn't have the supply. He doesn't have the numbers to defend. Will force back the main army, but here comes the flank, going for the expansion. And massive EMPs, no recall. The 7th base falls. Astrea is going to have to respond, is going to have to rotate. Oh my god, ByuN getting a disruptor. Oh my, the friendly fire! Yeah, Astrea getting pulled apart. He has remaxed, but did lose 2 bases. Lost the gold and the base on the right hand side. Losing another disruptor. And these are expensive losses for Astrea. Liberator coming in from behind, flanking the army. Astrea getting caught out, more disruptors falling. And it's just going from bad to worse. Astrea getting caught with his pants down. Ah, not like this. Zealots are trickling in. Massive flanking storm. Oh my god, the storms. Okay. And despite that, still losing too many Tempests. And reinforcements, they still overwhelmed. Despite the flanking storms, it's still too much. As ByuN gets another Archon. Pulls away, is forced back. Both players are battered and bruised. But ByuN has the gold. ByuN has got a fresh mining base. He can maintain himself. Astrea, he was doing so well for himself this game. Was looking quite impressive. But it has kind of slipped through his fingers. Game has gotten out of hand. And it looks like ByuN has finally kind of broken the back of Astrea. If Astrea can land some of these storms, then maybe, but the EMPs, they connect. There's one, oh, never mind, another massive EMP. The storms are denied. More High Templar coming in, more EMPs land. There's one storm, but just one. And ByuN, he's broken the base, he's broken the expansion, and he's broken Astrea. More Zealots, they do reinforce. ByuN is waiting for his own reinforcements as well. Just still rallying in. He gets a Nexus. Oh! Storm does zone. But now Astrea split off from his most important mining base. It is now isolated. ByuN getting another Tempest. Good. How many ghosts does ByuN has? 16 ghosts! He's like Astrea in the last game with High Templar. Just going mass ghosts essentially. EMPs at blanket everything. GG gets called and ByuN will take game number 1. GG. Does take the first game, but a big shout out to Astrea because, again, Astrea, I was kind of favoring him for the most part. When he was containing ByuN on 4 bases, when he was going for Zealot run-by, Zealot counterattacks, but you could definitely see that the momentum did shift and did kind of change in favor of ByuN when Liberators arrived. Not the first 4, but the second wave of Liberators. That was the moment that ByuN was able to finally secure himself, finally able to break out and break free from his contain, and then counterattack and start laying siege upon the gold. And once ByuN gained map control, Astrea, he was never able to regain it back from ByuN. Was never able to retake control, and It was forced to respond, and eventually was pulled apart. GG. GG, well played. With that, ByuN takes the lead. Meanwhile, we have an update. It looks like we have MaxPax. MaxPax takes down Geralt 2-1. And MaxPax is waiting in the grand finals for the winner of the series. So we have everything lined up. We have the semis into MaxPax in the grand finals. And I believe that is the first... I mean, this is MaxPax's debut in the Ursasaurus Cup, so it is his first time making it to the finals. Can he walk that royal road? Or will he be denied? Still here to find out his next opponent. Don't forget to stretch. Don't forget to stretch. And hydrate. Drink plenty of water. Just getting ready for our second game. Going to be loading into Site Delta. Let's go. Coast King. True, true. Coast King Prime. So getting into that second game. Also, buenas noches. Good evening. Odysseus. Good to see you, Papi. Good to see you. It's been a while. It's been a while. When are we seeing you in the bracket? That's the real question. When are we seeing Odysseus in the tournament? As spawning in the top left-hand corner of Site Delta, we have our Terran player. We have our South Korean Terran representing Shopify Rebellion. It is ByuN. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have the American Protoss player, the Red Protoss representing Virtus Pro. It is Astrea. No promises about playing in the bracket. Ah, smooch. Good to see you, though. Good to see you. Those who don't know, Odysseus, he was a more active player a couple of years ago. Was a much more active player. Nowadays, I believe, still streams. I believe. Did see you streaming a couple of days ago. Still active on Twitch. Good to see you. As we're settling in. And I'm sure we'll see him next week in Ursasaurus Cup. I'm sure. Isn't that right? Aye, aye, aye. So now we're settling in. Is going to be our Gate Cyber Expand, as opposed to the previous game where Astrea was cutting some corners and being a little bit greedier early on, going for the Gate Expand instead. This time going for the Cyber Core before Nexus. Likewise across the map, ByuN opening up with a single Gas Geyser, going for the CC on the low ground. So economic opener by ByuN. Just like the previous game. Just like game number one. I mean, again, Site Delta is a larger map. Not just that, but on top of that, the natural base is more defendable. There is a ramp coming into the natural. So more economic openers are seen more frequently on Site Delta. On top of that, we do see ByuN scouting, checking the third base location for any kind of proxy. Do have a second racks behind this, and I imagine ByuN for the second game in a row is going to be going 3CC, 3 racks. Oh, never mind. My apologies. It is a more standard 3 racks instead. Let's go. So last game, ByuN went for something more economic. This time he's going for something more aggressive here. This time it's going to be a much earlier, a much more crisp stim timing from ByuN. And if Astrea doesn't read this well enough, if Astrea assumes it is 3CC again, then he could be caught with his pants down. So the pressure is on Astrea for now, delaying the CC, being as annoying as possible. Adept has arrived. So far, ByuN kiting well with his Marines. Oh, he wants the Adept. He wants it. Won't quite get it. Back at home, Twilight Council opener out of Astrea. Thankfully, no Stargate. With this working towards Blink, but the question becomes, how many gateways? Is it going to be 2-gate Blink into a third, or 3-gate Blink? How safe is Astrea going to be? Adepts, they do come into the shade. They get 1 Marine, they're going to get a second. Shading out 2 Marines for an Adept and a Zealot. Another Marine goes down. And it looks like ByuN is barely going to take the fight. He does force a shade away. ByuN will defend his natural even without a bunker. Impressive. An impressive impressive control there from ByuN. Ooh, Adept does shade in! Big moment here for Astrea. He scouts, he confirms, he does get eyes on the 3 ranks. He knows what's going on. And with that, we should be seeing shield batteries here at the natural, sentries for force fields, extra stalkers, extra warp-ins, and a more active stalker army to slow down the move-out, to slow down the army in the center of the map. Speaking of, stalkers already at the natural, getting 2 SCVs, and even getting a 3rd. Not bad. So again, ideally, once you realize what's going on, once you're aware of the 3 racks, you do want to try to slow it down, ideally even force out a stim. ByuN responds with a 3rd CC on location. He's crazy. I like this though. So ByuN knows he got scattered, so he knows that most likely Astrea is taking defensive precautions. So you can see him, I should say patrolling with his stalkers. And the last thing Astrea expects is a CC here at the 3rd base. I mean, if Astrea knew, he could deny it, he could cancel. But Astrea doesn't. Astrea is in the dark. And he's going to be kept busy by the Bio Army. With the Bio Army. Astrea, he has to slow this down. Chipping away at the Marines, chipping away at the Marauders. And ByuN, he's fine with this. He's fine just taking his time. Oh, catching out a Stalker. Blink isn't done. Just now finishing. 1 Stalker goes down. Nice pick off here out of ByuN. Almost getting another. ByuN moving out, making use of the terrain, the high ground, the tall grass. Astrea now expands. But Astrea did open up with a Robo and a Bay before expansion. So a very safe build here by Astrea. Now what does this mean? I mean, in the long run here, it means the 3rd base is delayed, and the economy likewise delayed as well for Astrea. So ByuN will have the faster 3rd. A much faster 3rd base. It's going to get up and running, and again, Astrea has no idea. He still doesn't know. Astrea's still in the dark. Again, going for his early Colossus. Into Extend Thermal Lance. And as a result, ByuN can take a supply lead in the mid-game once all the production kicks in. Getting towards 5 Raxes. Stim, Combat Shields, Concussive Shell. Building up his bio. Now Astrea should confirm... oh, never mind. I mean, he sees the SCV. So Astrea, he is now aware. With the Observer. And he's kiting well. Gets a Marauder, gets a handful of Marines. Very nice control here from Astrea. Takes out 1 Marauder and a good amount of Marines. Astrea just now getting his own base saturated. ByuN's already there. And he wants the Observer, does find it. Up! Up! Doesn't escape! Oh, barely not. Observer is hunted down. And now ByuN can move out. I'm loving the Colossus position here on the high grounds. Very nice force field as well. Cheeky moves by Astrea. Picks away at the Marines. ByuN going for a double drop. Alas, the probe will spot this. Astrea does confirm. Likewise, double drop towards the left. Likewise, Astrea also gets eyes on that as well. So nice map vision here by Astrea. But knowing is half the battle. Can he defend? Can he keep up? Astrea taking a 4th. Splits up his Colossi. So far, so good. Oh, going for the Medivacs. Gets 1. 1 Medivac goes down. Oh. Forces out a stim. Astrea playing this out well. Marine Scout does get eyes on the 4th base. Here we go. ByuN is about to move out. He's waiting for his first wave of ghosts. Ghosts have arrived. EMPs are available. And now ByuN is pushing. Again, he scouted the 4th earlier. And that's his goal. To knock that 4th down. There are 3 Colossi, and Astrea's in position, has the high ground. EMP doesn't quite connect. Nice force fields. Does slow down the push, doesn't quite catch anything. Astrea will retreat. He's now out of force fields, bear that in mind. And ByuN instead going for a split push. Oh. And this base is exposed. Astrea, the entirety of his attention is here at the 4th base, not at the 3rd. And ByuN, he's diving in, gets the EMP, denies the recall. And the expansion, it's gonna go down. And in a matter of seconds, the expansion does fall. Massive pickup. Medevacs will escape. At the same time, ByuN pushing in. And we're out of position, no! Astrea pulled left, pulled to the right, and with that, 2 bases gonna be falling. Does he get it? Oh, not quite. Astrea does get her in time, does save the expansion. But did already lose the 3rd. Aye, aye, aye. Again, Astrea was doing such a good job keeping up earlier, but eventually ByuN found an opening. Astrea double expanding, desperately trying to get one of these bases up and running. Behind this, second robo's on the way, double disruptor production. I mean, Astrea is still in this, can still take a fight as well, especially with disruptors. But because he has lost these bases, that does mean that ByuN is going to be able to get ahead in the supply, get ahead in the army, and with that, with a larger army being able to pull Astrea apart once again. We'll see if he can. ByuN moving out. Is spotted by the observer. ByuN also spots the observer, brings it down. You can see Astrea being that much more attentive about spreading his units. Protecting the expansion. Oh, never goes off. Very big connection. The concave in favor of Astrea. ByuN has to back up. He respects it. So we're making 5 SCVs, lays the expansion. Not bad. Astrea does have the southern base up and running. ByuN is unaware. Unaware about the double expand, but once again he's going for that northern nexus. If it goes down, it's not as impactful as Astrea has another base. And it looks like the nexus is going to fall. The army stims in, takes down the nexus. Oh, never goes off. Will connect, takes down a ghost. Good connection here by Astrea. And ByuN, he's on the hunt, he stims in, takes down the disruptors. 2 more coming in, gets a Colossus. Oof. And not the best Nova. But alas, we have plenty of Zealot reinforcements. Astrea, he collapses in, he can take the fight. Yeah, ByuN has overextended. And Astrea takes the supply lead, catches out reinforcements. The Marauders, the Ghosts. Does that position ByuN? ByuN, he's on the retreat. He's in trouble. And I feel like Astrea has to keep going. Astrea, he's maxed out. Send it back. Send it. Never goes off. Ooh, massive connection. Takes down the Marauders. And it looks like Astrea just has too much. Nice whole position micro. Chasing down what little is left. The Vikings fall, Colossus still alive. Planetary is not done, boys are being pulled. And Astrea is looking to force that ace match. Oh my god, again, double expanding was worth it. ByuN had no idea about that southern base. Astrea was able to build back up. And with that, shuts down what little is left. Zealots are still wreaking havoc in the main base. GG gets called, and Astrea ties it up. We are going to game 3. Ooh, GG. Oh my god. GG, well played. A very tense game state. Initially, ByuN was popping off. Initially, ByuN, he was knocking down bases, knocking down expansions, pulling Astrea apart. And again, it was a risky maneuver for Astrea to double expand the way that he did, but he got away with it. He got away with it, got his bases up and running, was able to maintain himself, and ByuN was caught out a little bit there when he tried to push up that ramp. It was his turn to be caught out in the open. And with that, GG. GG, well played. ByuN just getting a little bit too excited there after sniping the expansion. And with that, it all ends here. It all ends in Game 3 on ByuN. Let's go. Let us go. We go into the ace match. Honestly, there's a world out there where Astrea 2-0'd, right? Like, Game 1 was also still very close as well. Game 1 was in favor of Astrea for a while. We'll see if he can bring it back. We'll see if he can cause the upset. Or if ByuN makes it to the finals. We'll see. Shall see. We're letting in. You can hear the beeps. Of course, Max still patiently waiting in those finals. Waiting for his Terran or Protoss opponents. Here we go, spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of ByuN, and we have our South Korean Terran player being forced into the ace match. He is the favored player, but can he bring it back and bring it home and make it to the grand finals? It is ByuN for Shopify. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the American Protoss player, the red Protoss, the best player in all of the Americas. It is Astrea. For Virtus Pro. Oh, we're proxying. I don't just see one SCV. I see a second SCV as well. After an intense Game 1 and Game 2. And again, I mentioned before that I do think that Astrea could have even 2-0'd. Do think that he could have even taken Game 1. ByuN, he's had enough of the mid game. He's had enough of the late game. He wants to end the game early, going 2 racks. Reaper. Let's go. I'm assuming Reaper. There's only one gas being taken back at home. We'll see if ByuN does spice things up even further. See what direction he does take. If he goes something crazy like a tech lab into Marauder production, I believe if that was the case, we usually would take a second gas geyser. Regardless, ByuN is committed. We have Astrea setting up, standard opener, gate, cyber expand. Going for initially a safety zealot. Rallied across the map to harass the natural base that isn't there, and it is in fact going to be proxy Marauder. Tech labs are on the way. ByuN is going for the Marauders. And if he gets scouted, he can be shut down. If not, he can pop off. There we go. Double proxy, double tech labs, double the Marauder. Zelda's moving out. Astrea, no probe scout. Oh, that is concerning. Usually we would see a probe scout, but Astrea's cutting corners. Instead, he's going for, I guess, a zealot scout with the zealot harass. That is going to be far later. That means the likelihood of there being a safety shield battery here is quite low. If there was a probe scout, and if Astrea confirmed that there was something missing, then he'd be taking a safer approach. But Astrea's in the dark. Astrea is in the dark. Marauders are building up. And it takes that much longer to realize that he's in danger. Adept is moving out as well. Again, and no shield battery. No defenses whatsoever. Twilight Council, no second gate. Oh no. And now Astrea realizes he sees the lack of anything back at home. And here come the Marauders. Yeah, they're going straight for the pylon. Pylon's going to be shut down. Bunker's on the way. And Astrea can't really do anything. Now the question becomes... Yeah, there it is. GG. Can't really do anything. It is a bit of a build order loss, and ByuN will take the series 2-1. A little bit anticlimactic, but Astrea did skip the scout. He was caught with his pants down completely, and ByuN will make it to the grand finals. GG. Not the conclusion that we wanted necessarily, not the way that we wanted the conclusion, I should say. And again, my heart goes out to Astrea. He almost 2-0'd. He was looking so good even in game 1. Alas, the game did slip through his fingers. Here in the ace match, it is unfortunate that Astrea did skip his probe scouts, and likewise did send out his first zealot across the map, his adept as well. He had nothing at home, and that was game. That was it. GG. GG, well played. With that, we are getting ready for the grand finals. Getting ready for those finals. It is going to be a best of 5 between ByuN and MaxPax. Let's go.